Books. Now, these are like our best friends, like, even especially during this time. Because basically, we don't even have our friends. Our friends are all busy doing something or the other at their own house. Well, but the only person who's always there with us, who won't leave even after 2 hours, is books. So I guess books are our greatest assets. We learn so much from books, which is why today I'm listing my favorite books from which I've learned a lot of values. I've learned a lot. I've received a lot of knowledge, and I've understood a lot. So yeah, this is across all genres. My favorite. So basically, this is gonna be my favorite book series or books from all genres. Starting from number 10, the Holy Bible. Now, I've asked many people their favorite books, and they've never mentioned any holy book like the Holy Quran or the Holy Bible or something like that. Or they've never actually mentioned the Gita, or yeah, they never mentioned anything like this. So I guess the Holy Bible is one of the books that I've uh, learned a lot from, because I've learned a lot of values from it. I've learned the way people used to be. I've learned a lot about that period in time. I've also learned more about the future, as they made so many predictions in the Bibles. I've learned which way to be, who can God be. I've not only understood belief, I've understood various skills like and values. So yeah, not to mention I've heard about a lot of people like the Messiah, Jesus Christ, and probably since my grandmother has an entire collection like of books related to the Bible, a lot of us have various follow various religions, and we have various holy books there. So I guess if each of us read those books, we understand that it gives us a lot of knowledge and skills and values that we can develop on and make ourselves a better person. So number 9, Tinkle Comics. If you haven't heard of Tinkle Comics, uh, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you, but especially if you're an Indian, because Tinkle is basically an Indian comic. The basically Tinkle is made up of various comics for children, and there's no inappropriate stuff in it at all. No bad words, nothing. So it's a brilliant comic. It has intelligent humor. It doesn't have just normal like brushed up humor like in some movies that we see nowadays, but it actually has real intelligent humor. It also has understanding. It has it has a few chapters in it about science, about science, applications of science in real life, which makes it so much more interesting. Not to mention its three greatest characters. Sopandi, who's basically a very dumb person, not exactly dumb, very playful. He doesn't know much. He's very simple minded, and he's always fired from every job that he attends. And he also, yeah. So basically, that's his character, about how he can be stupid, a bit stupid. And the second character is Shikari Shambu. Shikari Shambu is is known as the greatest shikari in the world. Okay, if you don't know the meaning of shikari, shikari is a hunter. A shikari is a hunter. So basically, he's a very bad hunter actually. He loves to sleep and he loves to eat, but he tries his luck at hunting, and people think he's so great and he knows how to do things so well. But it's actually he doesn't know how to do anything. He has so many miraculous turn of events which makes him a better person. He has these accidental events which help him nab every animal. For example, if a tiger was on the loose, some people try and ask for his help. He would try to find the tiger and would do something wrong, but while doing something wrong, an accident happens and the tiger gets knocked out or something. The tiger gets knocked out. So I guess due to some accidents, he becomes very, very successful, and people call him the greatest shikari in the world. So anyway, and the third character is Tantri the Mantri. Now a Mantri is a minister, and this is basically about earlier times, and his best and one of his best friends is not exactly his best friend, Raja Huja. Now it's a which is King Huja. Now this minister Tantri considers wants himself to be the king all the time, and he tries to get rid of Huja, and Huja thinks he's the greatest. Tantri is never able to do it. He always ends up doing something to himself, and while doing something to himself, he does something good for Huja. As whenever he tries to plot, there might be someone else plotting against him. Huja might order him to do something which makes him exposed to the thing that he made Huja. For example, once he made Huja a wrong pair of wings, a pair of wings because Huja wanted to fly. Now he didn't add any flying machines, so Huja would anyway fall down. But Huja actually asked Tantri to go first, and that's why Tantri was injured for many days. So this is how Huja always gets saved, and Tantri always sustains numerous injuries from his various experiences when he tries to plot against him. Anyway, without further ado, let's go straight to number 8. If you don't know who this is William Shakespeare. Now, Shakespeare's novels. Now, yeah, some people might be like shocked because they might think that why Shakespeare here. Shakespeare should either be at the top or not be in the list. So actually, he is a really good writer, and I've read a lot of his books. I've read some parts of the adults. I've read the children's. Now, I think he is a brilliant writer, obviously, with such classics like Romeo and Juliet and Julius Caesar. Um, but I just feel that one of his genres is romance and tragedy and histories. Now, histories and tragedies I'm okay with, but even those tragedies have romances in them, and many boys, including me, are not very interested with romance because we are more interested with different genres. So this is actually my least favorite genre, which is why he is a bit low on the list, and which is why I'm keeping some writers above him, some other writers who are more modern above him. But if you feel he should be at the top, then just tell me why in the chat box. So yeah. The next one is Devdutt Patnaik. He's an Indian writer, and I guess, in my opinion, like right now, he's one of the best modern Indian writers right now, along with Sudha Murthy, who hasn't been included in this. I'm sorry if you are a fan of Sudha Murthy, but yeah, he's written various books, and not just books, mythological books, and mythological books have actual. He combines different versions of stories along with mythology. He takes different mythologies, like for example, he made one on Olympus. He's written here an Indian retelling of the Greek myths, which means he has an Indian point of view, but he translates it into a Greek way, like he has an Indian point of view here to Greek stories, which is what makes him so good. And not to mention his Ramayana versus Mahabharat and all of those books. I'm really interested in his books. So he's just I don't think I think he's the best mythology writer in India right now. So yeah, other than Amish, sorry, yeah. So now the next ones come from the mythological category. Now, this is not exactly Devdutt Patnaik, but this is containing all mythologies, which is Greek, which is right here. Now, Greek mythology is extremely fascinating because it's probably one of the first mythologies in the world. It talks about how the various people in Greek mythology, the various ways they fight, what they wear, what they do, their gods, and it's very different from Roman mythology. People think that the Romans take the form, the Greek gods took the form of Roman gods when the center of civilization went into Rome. But the Greeks will always have a great history. The next one are the Romans. The Romans are also pretty great since they've invented some great things. Like we've read about Greeks and Romans, we read about their histories, we read about what they built. So basically we read about the Colosseum and Julius Caesar. We read about and for the Greeks, we read about Achilles, we read about Hercules, we read about these great people, and we actually understand more about our modern world and how it has changed and how it can be developed using this. Again, Indian mythology is my favorite, personal favorite, because I'm an Indian. Yeah, that's obvious, but yeah. So, because I'm an Indian, Indian mythology is my favorite. If you don't know, there are three main gods: Lord Shiv, Lord Brahma, and Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiv is the destroyer, Lord Brahma is the creator, and Lord Vishnu is the preserver. Now, these are the various gods. Now, I feel the Greeks have 12 Olympians, the Romans have different versions of the gods, but no other mythologies in the world have as many gods as the Indians. Many people have asked, like I've met some like people from outside India before, and they've asked me, why do Indians have so many gods? Because we have various beliefs. India has a very rich heritage and a lot of culture, so we have various beliefs. And when you read all of these stories, each person has a take on each story, like on how the animals were created. Some people believe that Lord Shiv did yogic postures continuously until all the animals came, so each yogic posture represented an animal. So yeah, that was one way they feel animals were created. They also felt they feel these various things. They feel that there are various gods representing various natures: water Varun, god Varun, fire Agni, and yeah. So basically these are great. And actually, if you want to know more about Indian mythology, read Amar Chitra Katha. It's my humble request. It's actually a part of Tinkle. It's like different from Tinkle but made by the same person, Anant Pai. So Mr. Anant Pai, he's one of my favorite, like, comic or story book writers. So he's just too good for me. So they've written about Mahabharata, they've written about various different people, they've written about King Shantanu, they've written about various kings. They've written about from the first part of the Mahabharata, which starts from King Shantanu to the end, which ends with the death of the Pandav princes. So yeah, now the next one is classics. Now, class in under classics, like everything would fall under classics. Now, if you see, I've got some broader categories, because if I were to take each and every single book or series that I like, this list would go on for like 400, 400 books on each presentation. And I don't think I would be able to fill one presentation with all of these books. So anyway, like The Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and the Tales of Shakespeare, which is why I feel it's better than Shakespeare. It's made of writers like it's made of writers that are not as that do not have like as much popularity as Shakespeare, but who are just almost, maybe like they are not as brilliant as Shakespeare or something, but they are some of the most brilliant writers, like Alexandre Dumas, who is there for the Three Musketeers, which is actually my second favorite classic, and Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe, and Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson are also one of my favorites. I love the part in Robinson Crusoe where he actually goes and finds supplies from the ship, and he's able to make things on his own. The way he's able to do it on his own, the willpower he has is amazing. Treasure Island, it's all about bounties and all, and how they save money, and it's all about fighting. So I really love those. A Tale of Two Cities is about the French Revolution, what follows it. The Three Musketeers is about France during and the Three Musketeers and a boy called D'Artagnan who goes to recruit himself. And now, my favorite classic, Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is just too good. Arthur Conan Doyle is a brilliant man. He's a genius in my opinion. I was actually going to make it separate and put him at in the around the top three, but I thought since it's a classic, it should be included in this. But know that I just think that Sherlock Holmes is too good. It's too brilliant. If anyone hasn't read it, you have to read it. It's just mind blowing the way he solves the cases. He's just too intelligent. It's like he's made him too OP or intelligent. He knows various fighting styles, wrestling, martial arts. He can fight with a gun. He can fight with anything. Like I really like action. So yeah, he's not only intelligent but he's good with action. Now the next is The Hobbit. Now, many people have asked me before whether The Hobbit is a good series to read, since many of my friends have asked me whether they should read The Hobbit, and I always mention that they should read it since it's all about how a person's life can change with a snap. How Thorin Oakenshield and his company came to a simple hobbit called Bilbo Baggins. Now, a hobbit is basically a fun-loving, short, sweet creature. Now, these are not like humans. These are more peaceful, and these are more like they don't do anything out of the ordinary. They are sort of like the Dursleys, but a bit more pleasant, a lot more pleasant. So, like if you don't know Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, Harry Potter. So yeah. What interests me is the sword he uses. Since he's a hobbit, it actually blends with him, since it's an elvish design sword, so he can defend himself. The ring that he finds is the main thing. Now, there are some things in the movie that is like, if you watch the movies, then just know that it's not completely true, because it is pretty loyal, but it's very loyal to the book series, but it's added a lot of chunks on its own. Like Azog the Defiler was a very minor part. He wasn't like the Battle of the Fire Armies or something like that. He wasn't a very major part. And now the ring is the main part, and chasing away smog. It's actually smog. So chasing away the dragon smog is the main thing, and the ring. Now, Bilbo's ring basically has an addicting factor to it. When you put on the ring, you go invisible, and it keeps, it makes you stronger in a way. Even though you're invisible, it actually gives you power. It's sort of like if you watch Naruto, it's sort of like Sasuke in Curse 2 Mark, or it's sort of like if you haven't watched Naruto, it's sort of like a new power injected in your veins, sort of like that. Right, so yeah. So I guess now there's another series completely based on this ring, The Lord of the Rings. It's the one of the best, yeah. It's a classic, so yeah. Now the Adventures of Frodo and the Fellowship is amazing. Now the Fellowship contains of people like Legolas, who's an elf, Frodo, who's a hobbit, and he's actually the nephew of Bilbo, so the ring is passed on to him, and he becomes responsible in taking it to a fire called Mount Doom. To a volcano called Mount Doom, and throw it in its fire, because that's the only way that the villain of the series, Sauron, will die. No, now these characters are great. The Fellowship is great, and Frodo is amazing. But personally, my favorite characters are these three. If you don't know, it's Legolas, Gandalf, and Aragorn. So yeah, they're just too good. They're just too strong. Gandalf especially, and Legolas second, Aragorn third. I just know they're just too great. Now, the Percy Jackson series is number two. The Percy Jackson series is a brilliantly created series. It's created by Rick Riordan. Now, it's created as a cross between the American and Irish style, since he's part Irish, yeah. Now, I'm not only talking about the Percy Jackson series, I'm also talking about the Heroes of Olympus. Personally, I prefer the heroes. Like, I prefer some parts of the Heroes of Olympus more since it consists of more powerful people. But the Percy Jackson series was amazing. So it gives us it helps us understand more about Greek mythology, but in a more modern way, so that we can understand it better. And it contains where in impressive stuff. The way they use the and the way the characters have a contrast between them. There are very few series which contain the amount of information where the characters have contrast. Like they have one a lot of like a sort of main quality. Percy is like his water. Is like he's near. If he's near water, he's more vibrant. Annabeth, it's her intelligence. So each of them have a quality which depends on the Olympian parent. Again, my three favorite characters: Jason, Percy, Nico. They're too great. Okay, yeah. The next one. Number one, Harry Potter. Everybody has read Harry Potter. Like, if you haven't, just go read it right now. What are you doing here? Okay, yeah, just finish this video and then go. So, yeah. But this is just one of the the best series I've ever read. I started reading it when I was 5. I received the book when I was 5. And it's just completely just amazing the way J.K. Rowling, like, and she was not like Rick Riordan based some of his stuff on J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling based her stuff on ancient stories, and she made it so great. A lot of like the magic that's put in it, it's amazing. That and the subjects, she's invented this all from scratch. In fact, like she's taken like the history is from ancient stories, but the magic, the subjects, all of that is created from scratch. If you see Percy Jackson, it's created out of, and actually it's really interesting to see the series and understand it. Now even the movies are pretty good. Like it's one of the best adaptations of a book. And my favorite character is, this guy, Dumbledore, Albus Percival Wolfred Brand Dumbledore. Now, but one thing I just is burning like for the Harry Potter series. What puts the Harry Potter series above the rest is that it's made from scratch. It's original. Like if you see with Percy Jackson again, uh, it's made out of Greek stories, basic Greek stories. So we must understand how that Harry Potter is like the foundation stone to fantasy reading. If you want to read fantasy or fiction, always start with Harry Potter. So anyway, thank you guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. So and use the comment section down below to tell me which series you prefer. If you don't prefer Harry Potter, which it's highly unlikely, but still, yeah. Thank you. Bye, guys.